Let's get to the investigation from the FBI recap. Our detective found an interesting case. Kate and her husband John went to the hospital because Kate was going to have a baby. When the doctors took Kate away, John stayed behind to fill out some papers. Then Kate started bleeding. When she woke up, she was in an operating room and John wasn't there. The nurse told her that her baby had died. Kate couldn't believe it. Then John came in and started filming, like everything was fine. The nurse gave Kate the baby, but then Kate woke up in her own bed. She got up and went to the bathroom, looking at the scar on her belly. Then she took some medicine. The next day, Kate went to see a therapist, Dr. Browning. He told her that having bad dreams is normal after something very sad happens, like losing a baby. Kate wondered if the dream was about the baby or about the fact that she was going to adopt a child soon. She wasn't sure if she was ready. Kate told Dr. Browning that she had thought about buying some alcohol, but he said it was good that she didn't. He also said that she had to decide for herself if she wanted to adopt a child. Kate went to pick up her deaf daughter Max from school. She was driving home, but she got distracted and almost caused an accident. Later, Kate was playing the piano and writing music. She got annoyed by some noise and went outside. She saw Max throwing a basketball against the wall. Kate yelled at her to stop, and Max said sorry. John came home with their son Daniel, and they all played with the basketball together. That night, Kate put Max to bed and read her a story. The story was about the baby who died. Max asked if she would get a new sister. Before bed, Kate took some more medicine. She got into bed with John, and they talked about adopting a child. She had made up her mind, and they would go through with it. Sometime later, they went to an orphanage. They met a girl named Esther, who was painting a picture. She told them a great story about her painting. Kate and John liked her, and they decided to adopt her. 3 weeks later, they picked Esther up from the orphanage. In the car, Kate taught Esther some sign language. When they got home, Max was excited to meet Esther. Esther introduced herself to Max and asked how much she could hear. Kate said she could hear just enough to read people's lips. That night, everyone gave Esther a welcome gift, except Daniel, who seemed jealous. Daniel went to his treehouse with his friends and looked at some dirty magazines. Esther and Max played in the snow. The next morning, Esther wore a fancy dress to school, and the other kids laughed. Kate asked if she really wanted to wear it, and Esther said it was okay to be different. Later, Esther's teacher welcomed her to class, but one of the kids made fun of her. Esther and Max played on the frozen lake, but Kate told them to stop. Daniel was playing with a paintball gun and shot a bird. Esther gave him a rock and told him to put the bird out of its misery. Later, Esther took a bath, and Kate found an old Bible in her room. She didn't hear Esther watching her as she looked through it and found a photo of a man inside. At school, Daniel's friends made fun of him because of Esther, so he pushed her books over. When Esther went to pick them up, a girl found her Bible and they fought over it. Esther screamed. Later, Kate taught Esther how to play the piano. Then she asked Esther about the incident at school, but Esther didn't want to talk about it. Kate gave her a scrapbook, and Esther asked about the baby Kate lost. Kate told her what happened and showed her the roses where they scattered the baby's ashes. After dinner, Kate and John made love in the kitchen, but Esther suddenly appeared. While Esther is telling Max to find the keys to the treehouse, she actually uses them to get a gun from John's safe. She takes the bullets out of the gun, leaving one inside. She points the gun at Max, scaring her very much. As Abigail drives away, Esther takes Max to a bridge and says they will scare her so much that she will never want to come back. She pushes Max onto the street and Abigail almost hits her, then crashes the car. Abigail finds Max crying and Esther hits her with a hammer. Esther tells Max to help her get Abigail off the road. They roll Abigail over, but she is still alive, so Esther finishes her off with a hammer. They go into the treehouse where Esther hides her bloody clothes. Esther tells Max that they will send her to jail too for helping her. Esther says she loves Max. Later, Esther and Max go to Daniel's room and Esther threatens him not to say anything. John and Kate take Esther to see a therapist who says there is nothing wrong with Esther, but that Kate is the problem. Kate is worried about Esther and decides to contact the orphanage in Russia where Esther came from. When she calls, she finds out that there are no records of Esther before she arrived in the US. The next day, John tries to take Esther to the dentist, but she doesn't want to go. They spend the day painting together, and Esther tells John that she thinks Kate doesn't like her. Kate is taking the other children to school and asks them about Esther. They lie and say she has never done anything wrong. That night, Esther gives Kate a bucket of roses, picked from the place where Kate's daughter's ashes were scattered. Kate gets upset and grabs Esther, but John says it was his fault. Esther breaks her hand and tells John that her arm hurts. They go to the doctor, and John tucks her in bed. Kate comes in and confronts John, but he says Kate didn't grab Esther that hard. The next day, Kate drives the kids to school, and Esther drives away with Max. Kate runs after the car until it finally stops in the snow. That night, Dr. Browning comes to their house, and Kate swears that she put the car in park and that Max is covering for Esther. John shows her the second wine bottle that Esther found. The therapist says Kate needs to go to rehab or take a break. Esther tells Max that she will shoot her mom if she tells on her. Daniel goes into Max's room and tells her about Abigail in the treehouse. Esther hears him and Kate sneaks into Max's room. Esther turns on the light, and they have a confrontation. The doctor tells Kate that she has killed at least 7 people. Kate is rushing to get home, confused about how she fooled everyone. Back at the house, Esther trashes her room and removes her makeup. John finds her paintings on the wall. Kate is calling John as she drives home, but the power goes out. She calls the police. John finds a light and looks around the house, and Esther stabs him. He is incapacitated, but alive, so she keeps stabbing him until she kills him. Max sees her, and Esther goes after her next. Kate drives fast and crashes into the house. She finds John, then realizes Max is in trouble and tries to find her. Kate looks in her room but doesn't find Max, so she goes into the bathroom. Suddenly, Esther shoots her. Kate hides in her bedroom, but Esther doesn't find her there. Max hides in the garden, and Esther is coming for her. Kate sees her from the glass roof, and Esther shoots again. Max escapes, and Kate breaks the glass roof, falling on top of Esther. A moment later, Max wakes Kate up. Kate takes the gun and picks her up, leaving Esther behind. She steps outside, and the police arrive. They search the house, but Esther is nowhere to be found. Suddenly, she appears, chasing after Kate and Max with a knife. They tumble onto a frozen lake, struggling as Esther relentlessly pursues Kate. Max grabs the gun and fires, shattering the ice. Both fall into the water, continuing to fight until Kate incapacitates Esther. Kate crawls out, and Esther reaches for her, pleading not to be left to die. Kate kicks her back into the lake. Let's thank FBI Recap for the well-done work. New investigations ahead.